Yeah, and also because we have this one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you think in between the rounds?
Yeah,
I think it's fine.
I'm gonna be at the end of the final sprint here. I'm gonna go inside with Joe right behind the circle, so we can get the detail here right when the guy. Let's do it.
It'll be a great show.
Yes. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to get my bag of chips.
Kan man virkelig gøre alle glade? Både sommerhusejerne og feriegæsterne? Ja, det kan man, og det gør vi hver eneste dag hos Esmark. Vi elsker at skabe de perfekte rammer for vores feriegæster på Vestkysten. Du lejer nemlig ikke kun et sommerhus hos Esmark. Du lejer en oplevelse for livet. Se, hvad vi kan gøre for dig og din ferie på esmark.dk. Esmark professionel sommerhusudlejning uden bøvl.
Hello everyone watching from all around the world. Welcome back to Vilsane on the west coast of Denmark for day 7 of EUROSUP 22. Yesterday the athletes had a lay day, which means the batteries should be recharged for all the competitors, but also for Joe and myself. Today they will be facing a full day of technical racing, and technical it will be indeed today. Joe, right?
It certainly will be out there, Matthew. We can see already everything is set. The course is ready. What they're going to have to do, they're first going to go all the way out to the back to a yellow buoy. Come in. They're going to run through this little beach course that we have. Then it's time to go round the course 5 times. And then it's let's see who can get across this line first. There's going to be fierce. There's going to be battles. There's going to be fights out there. Let's not forget every single one of those boys' turns. They're going to be edging out. They're going to be going in on each one of the riders, and we're going to see some action out on the water. Let's not forget we are going to be going live and starting in a few minutes at 7:30 is going to be the first possible start. The managers meeting has just gone on when they've given all the different details. We're going to be doing 4 semi-finals. Then we're going to have a break back at 3 o'clock Central European time, and that's when the action really starts to happen, because that is where the finals are coming, and we are going to be crowning our new European champions.
Hello everyone watching from all around the world. Welcome to the white sands of Vilsane. It's early, I know, for all Europeans who had to get up to watch a full day of technical racing, but I bet you that it's going to be worth it, because we've got the top European athletes lined up once again here on the shores of the west coast of Denmark for another day of elite racing. The competition is already on day 7. This means that we are almost reaching the end of this 8-day European Stand-Up Paddle Championships. It started on Saturday with the subsurf, 3 days of subsurf, and on Monday we crowned our very first European champions, starting with the juniors. This is a new category that has been introduced this year for the very first time in the history of the European Stand-Up Paddle Championships. Then we carried on Tuesday with the sprints, on Wednesday with the long distance. All the athletes had a late day yesterday, which means that they had plenty of time to look at the course of today's technical racing finals. And the batteries are recharged for everyone. And we are going to have a technical course indeed, with 6 red buoy, 1 yellow one. Every single heat is going to start with a small first lap, which means that the athletes will have to reach that yellow buoy about 250 meters away from the beach, and they will do a small lap which involves 2 red buoys. They will go through the arch, they will run around the chicane, and then starts 5 laps of red buoy turn, 6 buoys, taking them all across the field here on the beautiful shores of Vilsanda. You can, I'm sure, appreciate those drone images. You can see Vilsanda's village just in the background, and the fjord of Ringkaping, where we were on Wednesday for the long distance. The long distance, which crowned 4 new European champions. We had in the morning Lucas Simoncelli from Spain and Cecilia Pampinella from Italy, taking a second crown here in the European Championships after winning the sprints the day before. And in the afternoon, Titouan Pouillot from France and Esperanza Barreras, the 2-time ISA World Champion from Spain, managed to win her first European title here on the west coast of Denmark. We had a managers meeting for all the teams at 7 o'clock, and we are only a few minutes away from the first semi-final of the day, the technical race women. So we are going to have 4 races this morning. We expect every single race to take approximately 30 minutes. And we are starting with the elite women. In that first heat from France, we have Mélanie Lafenêtre, a very, very strong paddler who's already been on the podium on Wednesday. In the long distance, she was 4th behind Laura Quetglas, the Spaniard. We have Esperanza Barreras, the winner of the long distance from Spain. She's also starting in this heat. Also from Spain, Duna Gordillo, who was 2nd in the sprints on Tuesday. And the Portuguese Veronica Silva is also in the mix. The Swede Vera Lindmark, the English veteran Mary Buchanan, the other English athlete Alex Tyra is in there as well, and the Swiss Anna Cieski, the only representative of Team Switzerland in this competition. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 women who are currently getting ready to jump into action here for a 7:30 start. It's 7:30 already, so we might be running a few minutes late. But you can see the focused faces. This was Team Spain with Oscar Ruiz, one of the two national coaches of Team España. Here's the French team. This is Titouan Pajot, who was awarded a silver medal in the subsurf in the junior on his first international appearance on Monday. In the subsurf finals, there was a big battle going on with Noah Stender, the Dane, the junior athlete from Denmark, from Klitmøller, who won the surf and who's also a very strong racer. He will be racing today, that young man from Klitmøller, Noah Stender. In heat number 2 of the women's, some other big names, of course. We've got the French champion, Amandine Chazot. She was in second place after the 15-kilometer of the long distance on Wednesday. She was catching up on Esperanza Barreras towards the end of the long distance race on Wednesday, milking those small downwind bumps towards the end, but it wasn't enough to catch up with Espe, who was definitely in command on Wednesday. You can watch again all the action. We didn't have the full multi-camera setup. This is Anna Tschirky from Switzerland. She is starting in this first heat, and in the background, Vera Lindmark from Sweden, with Patrick Boyum, who will be also racing. This is the Swede team captain on the right-hand side. This is, in the background, Team Italy with Leonica and the national coach. Last conversations before the storm of semi-final number 1 today in Vilsana, which means White Sands in Danish, and white sand it is indeed, and it is beautiful. We have been very, very lucky with the weather all week, and again today with a small wind, as you can see, that's coming from the south. If you look at a map, if you look at this beach flag orientation, the wind is coming from the south right now. It might turn. Yesterday in the afternoon, the wind was coming from the northeast. Duna Gordillo, the young Spanish champion, very impressive track record already. She trains with Laura Kedglas and Manolo Simoncelli in Mallorca. She's been paddling for 10 years. Her best friend, Sonia Caimari, was also racing yesterday in the juniors. So it's France, Spain, Portugal, Sweden, England, and Switzerland in this first heat. And in first position, she will be called first to the start line. Mélanie Lafenette. Let's talk about Mélanie a little bit. Mélanie Lafenette. This is Veronica Silva, by the way, from Portugal. But Mélanie Lafenette is the 2018 Vice World Champion in the ISA Junior competition, ISA World Championships. That was in Wanning, China. It was a first appearance of Mélanie Lafenette in the French team, and she got the silver medal. The junior category is a fairly new category in the world of international competition within the surfing federations. The ISA introduced that category in 2018 with a technical race, and for the very first time in the history of EUROSUP, the juniors are doing every single event, with a small difference with the elite men and women. the fact that there is only one junior boy and one junior girl representing every single country. This is something which is being tried out at EUROSUP 22. This might evolve in the future, but those points are crucial. Those junior points are crucial towards the overall team score, as tomorrow, after a last day of racing, we will have the relays. The nation with the most points will be crowned the European champion, and France so far is the champion with 3 consecutive titles. This EUROSUP competition started in 2016 in Lacanau, France, on the west coast of France, and France won it. Then in 2017 we had Peniche, Portugal. I was there. A great event, a very similar setup actually in Peniche. It looks very similar with that pier on the right hand side. And France won it again, and then it was Sardinia with 2 gold medals for Martin Vitry in the technical race and the long distance, and France won it again. Here's Team France. Simon Ackermann, the blonde kid who won a bronze medal and a silver medal already. He won't be racing today because that is one of the big stories today. We have a special kid who will make his first international appearance. He comes from New Caledonia, and his name is Vaik, watch out for the last name, Gariou. Yes, he is Noé Gariou's little brother. He's 16-year-old, and we will see him racing this afternoon for the very first time on an international competition involving Team France. Vaik Gariou, Noé's little brother. We've been told he's very good. Let's not put too much pressure on the young man on his first competition with Team France, but this is definitely something to watch this afternoon. Let's see if he's got it just like his big brother. Unfortunately, Noik is injured, but that didn't keep him from taking part in the long distance on Wednesday and taking the second place behind his fellow countryman Titouan Pouillot, also from New Caledonia. So it was France 1 and 2 in the men's long distance. On Wednesday on the fjord of Rinkeby, a 15-kilometer race, which was filmed only through my mobile phone. We didn't have the full camera setup we're having now with all these different angles, as you can hopefully appreciate from wherever you're watching from. Veronica Silva, Duna Gordillo warming up, and half of the field will qualify to the A final. We will also have a B final this afternoon. This is Mélanie Lafenette from France. La Cigale Surf Club is highly represented here with this athlete coming from France. She is a vice world champion in the junior. She is also a crowned French champion many times in different age categories in France, but last year she took another French title. A big comeback from for Mélanie, who took a little break for her studies. She studied on the island of La Guadeloupe, sports management studies, and she's back with us in this part of the world. And she made a big mistake in the sprints on Tuesday, and she doesn't want to do that mistake again. She made up for it with a very good performance in the long distance, and we'll see. She's a very technically skilled athlete, so She should be in the final, but she's gonna have to do with the competition, and competition there is with Esperanza Barreras on the starboard right here. Duna Gordillo right next to her from Spain also. Veronica Silva next to her on another starboard. Then it's Vera Lindmark from Sweden, Mary Buchanan from England. And I believe we've got a 1 minute procedure. They're being called to the starting line, set to go. A few seconds before we've got our first start of the day here in Vilsanda on day 7 of EUROSUP 22. Technical racing, it will be all day long. We've got a first round of heats this morning, 2 hours together. We expect every heat to take about 30 minutes. And those women are ready. We've got Alex Tyrer over there and Anna Chirki at the very end. 8 women, only 4 spots available for final A. The other 4 will move on to final B. And a great start by Mélanie Lafenêtre and Duna Gordillo. Esperanza Barreras has got a pretty slow start, but we've got Alex Tyrer and Vera Lindmark at the very end. On the SIC, a very strong Anna Chirki from Switzerland. She is taking the 3rd spot right now. These ladies have to reach that yellow buoy over there. That is the first and only time in this heat that they will go around that yellow buoy. Then they will totally ignore it just to focus on the red buoys. So we've got 2 lap formats in one heat. First, that initial heat, they have to reach that yellow buoy, and we know how crucial in technical racing it is to be the very first athlete to reach that buoy. Duna Gordillo in first position right now on the NSP, followed by Mélanie Lafenêtre in second, Esperanza Barreras in third, right next to Anna Chirki. You can see the wind creating a bit of a chop on the water. A pretty wide turn for Duna Gordillo, followed by Mélanie on the 45 Pro, Esperanza Barreras on the starboard, Anna Chirki in fourth. There's a draft formation happening right now, and it's not glassy out there, as you can see, with that wind coming from the south pushing these athletes north. Duna Gordillo in command of this first heat. In the technical open women, Mélanie Lafenêtre struggling to catch up as Esperanza Barreras is making a move now. So it's going to be 2 Spaniards at the front with France and Switzerland in the chase. Duna Gordillo on the NSP, and Mélanie Lafenêtre catching a little tiny ripple to stick to second position. But look at Esperanza Barreras accelerating as we are reaching a second buoy, the first red one. But Mélanie Lafenêtre has got the inside, but she takes a fall. Not too much damage there. Esperanza Barreras uses that to have a higher frequency of paddling in order to take second spot. But since we have the top 4 athletes making it through to the final, it's really this morning a matter of securing that spot in within the top 4. And a break is already happening behind Anna Chirki, about 30-meter distance behind Anna Chirki. We've got Duna Gordillo right in front of our screen. She is definitely pushing hard just to make sure everyone knows that she's got the power today. This is the first time we're going through the arch, and following this initial lap, which involves the yellow buoy, we are starting a full lap of 6 buoy turns, and we are going to do that 5 times. Esperanza Barreras, Anna Chiki, these are our top 4 women athletes, with Duna Gordillo with a 50-meter lead. Whoa, a shaky re-entry into that into the water by Mélanie Lafenêtre, but she's quickly back on her feet. And Esperanza Barreras right there behind her. Anna Chirki in 4th with a 10-meter gap behind Esperanza Barreras. Espe, who's looks over her shoulder to make sure that she's safe there in 3rd place. And on the NSP in 5th position, that is the Portuguese athlete Veronica Silva, with I think it is Mary Buchanan right there on the right-hand side. Mary Buchanan, who is a very strong paddler from the UK. Actually, I should say Team England, because it is Team England represented by these athletes this week here at EUROSUP. It keeps switching actually between Team GB and Team England, as Tina, the team captain, was explaining to me yesterday. So it's Surfing England, which is taking a bunch of athletes to EUROSUP, a pretty strong team. And Mary Buchanan is a very high-profile representative of that team. She is the 2013 winner of the SUP 11 City Tour. She is the 2013 winner of the Nautic paddle race in Paris. And she also likes to race in Australia, where she won, she didn't win, but she was 2nd twice at the King of the Cut. Mary Buchanan right now in 6th position. But Duna Gordillo is doing the job right here at the front of the race, with now a 40-meter gap of commanding lead over Esperanza Barreras, who's made her move. She's now 2nd, but Mélanie Lafenêtre is looking pretty strong too. She, as I said earlier, made a big comeback on the racing scene after taking some time off for her studies. She was on the island of La Guadeloupe for a couple of years, which is actually a fantastic place, which I invited you to visit, especially towards the end of January, when we basically have one of the best downwind races in the world. It's called Z Race. It's always on the last Saturday of January, and it involves 40 kilometers of a straight downwind race along the shores of the island of the Guadeloupe on the French Caribbean. So make sure you highlight that date in your calendar, because it's a great way to spend your summer, and while improving your downwind skills. You can do downwinds all day long, 2 or 3 times a day, with a 10K course, a 20K course, a 40K course. It's very easy logistically, and you've got plenty of boards that you can rent and borrow in La Guadeloupe. I totally recommend that destination for if you are into downwinds, if you want to improve your downwind skills, because it's a fantastic destination, and especially in January when you have the race. Duna Gordillo, Esperanza Barreras. It's Spain, France, and Switzerland, with Anna Chirki in 4th position. Mélanie Lafenêtre on the 4-5 Pro board there in 3rd, making sure she doesn't let Espe go too far away from her. Esperanza Barreras, who had a shaky start of the competition. Ooh, look at Duna Gordillo losing her balance, or almost losing her balance there. She made that quick flick with her paddle, allowing her to regain her balance. And those beautiful drone shots show that Espe is also pretty good at buoy turns, not just long distance racing. She's an all-round paddler. She trains in and lives in the Canary Islands, right there on the All-Star, the all-round board, all-water SUP racing board by the international brand Starboard. But it's NSP in first position so far with Duna Gordillo from the club Mar Balear in Mallorca, trained by Laura Ketglas, who finished third in the long distance on Wednesday. And Duna Gordillo, who was second in the sprints on Tuesday, is so far qualified for the final A, but there is now 4 laps to go before she has got that secured spot into the A final. And Joe is back with us, most certainly with some information from the beach. Hello, Joe, how are you?
Hi, Mathieu. How's it going? Yeah, really nice. It is a beautiful morning down there. It's nice and flat. You can see all of the athletes really having a lot of fun out there, but it does look like the Spaniards at the moment, both at the top of the charts. Like you said, there's still, this is going to be lap 3, if I'm not mistaken. So that means that they will be doing a total of 5 laps, and then I'm going to go down to the beach and going to get an interview with the winners. But yeah, really looking nice out there, and very consistent, all of the athletes. So at the moment we have that you can see on the screen there, that is Duna Gordillo. Then we can see there, which looks like in second position, that is going to be Esperanza Barreras. We can see also that we have Marie Lafayette. So those 3 athletes are starting to go a little bit further away than the rest of the pack, and we can see a 4th athlete making away as well. So just going to get some information to see who is that in 4th position. But you can even see we have a nice amount of seagulls. It is very beautiful out there, and what a way to start off a morning of tech racing down here at Vida Sande. But hey, European Championships are up to grabs.
Yes, indeed, Joe. And yeah, in 4th position, Anna Tjerke from Switzerland. And you know what? After spending a week here in Vilsande, I wouldn't expect this to be a summer destination, really. But it's been so warm and hot and beautiful here on the west coast of Denmark. And those wind and waves conditions definitely provide a great playground, whatever your water sport is. Obviously, stand-up paddling is a great sport to do here with all these different conditions. And as we're going to see that pier, or that promenade pier right here on the right-hand side, as you reach the, as you passed it and you reach the ocean, it's pure downwind, pretty much all day long, wherever the wind comes from. And that's also another great downwind runs that these athletes could do. Maybe we're going to come back to these shores of Vilsande one day and have that downwind runs, which looks very, very strong. I had a bit of a go yesterday on a board which was kindly lent to me by the young Swede Ida Djurström, and I had a play with those little bumps, and it was definitely fun. All right, so that draft formation has broken up now with Duna Gordillo still in the lead and Esperanza Barreras in second position, Melanie Lafayette in third, but in the back we've got Vera Lindmark and I think that was Alex Tyrer just in front of her. So virtually out of final A for now, but look at Duna Gordillo go on that NSP board. Perfect technique already at a very young age. I think she's only 18 or 19, and has been paddling for more than 10 years now with a very strong team of young athletes in Mallorca, in Port Adriano, with Club Balear, which organizes a yearly international SUP race every year, which is part of the Euro Tour, which was pretty well run. Again, this year presented by Chris Parker, who is very fond of the island of Mallorca. A beautiful place with great conditions, great downwind conditions as well. And what Laura Kedglas and Manolo Simoncelli do with these youngsters, look at that turn, beautifully executed by Duna Gordillo. What Manolo Simoncelli and Laura Kedglas have been doing with these youngsters is amazing, putting them on international podiums for the past 10 years. But more than anything, creating a very strong team spirit, which shows every time they go to Spanish competitions or international competitions as a group, as a team. Duna Gordillo actually traveled when she was 12 or 13 years old to Dana Point for the Pacific Paddle Games, and she competed in the Groms. She was definitely on the podium with her friend Sonia Caimari, whom we saw taking second place in the long distance in the juniors. Here's a little swell that Duna, without losing her balance, is using to take her even further away from Esperanza Barreras. She looks pretty calm and focused. So this is the third time that we are going through the arch, and that run in the chicane is not creating any damage right now. It's pretty clean racing for two Spaniards at the front. One French woman in third now, while Anna Tcheki from Switzerland making a move here with her SIC board in her hand, taking third place. Watch out, Melanie. Don't lose too much ground. Obviously, it's all tactical here, making sure that you don't burn too much energy for this afternoon's final. But it's also a mental game against your competition. You don't want to appear either too strong or too weak. And too strong meaning that you burn too much energy, and too weak could make your competitors even more aggressive against you. This is what technical racing is also about. As actually the French athlete and the Swiss athletes are reaching that first buoy of the new lap course. Here's Duna Gordillo on the NSP. Ooh, Esperanza Barreras is putting the hammer down right now, trying to catch up with Duna. Talking about mental tactics. She doesn't really need to do that, but she is doing it. Look at that. That gap is closing in. That's for sure. Let's see how Duna handles that turn. Again, really nicely executed backside, but here comes the front side. A slower turn for Esperanza Barreras, who loses some ground on that turn. But Anna Tcheki now has moved to third place from Switzerland, followed by Mélanie Lafenette from the Cigale Surf Club in Saint-Maxime. Hello, the Cigale. I know Yannick Pinault, the club president, is watching the Cigale Surf Club, which organizes every year the SUP Race Cup, the oldest SUP race in France, just 6 months older than the Paris race, which happens later on in December. I was there this year with the Southerners from France, with the Provençal people. And it was beautiful, and it was technical, both in the long distance and the technical race. And Mélanie Lafenette, who now lives in the southwest of France, claimed the win fairly comfortably. That was back in May. And following that, Mélanie moved on to bigger things with the EUROSUP festival in Santa Pola in Alicante, and most importantly, the qualification rounds for Team France, and she did really well, specifically in Pornichet during the Pornichet Paddle Trophy, which was one of two events which were picked by the French Federation as qualifiers for the French team. And in the women's, it's Mélanie Lafenêtre and Amandine Chazot who took the two first spots in a very tight competition with Anaïs Guillaumard, another very strong French athlete, and Yona Rivet. Those two girls are not here in Ville-Saint-Denis since only two top open athletes are selected in the men's and the women's. So only Mélanie Lafenêtre and Amandine could be picked for this event. Here is Duna Gordillo, beautiful drone shots there. Thank you, Jacob, local drone pilot from Ville-Saint-Denis, who's been granting us with those beautiful shots all week. Duna Gordillo has got that 30-meter lead over Esperanza Barreras, but you can see Esperanza makes very strong comebacks in those stretches of water in between buoys. Esperanza is going backside now. That should be a faster turn for the Spaniard. A little bit wide, but definitely safe. She doesn't need to make it too radical there. But interestingly, Mélanie Lafenêtre has fallen a little bit there behind Anna Tchirky. There is a huge gap, though, behind those four women. And those top four spots are currently being secured by two Spaniards, one French woman and one Swiss athlete, Anna Tchirky. Here comes the Duna Gordillo. And she's going to slide towards the next red buoy. Pretty efficient gliding section here with Esperanza Barreras sprinting on that last stretch of beach in order to have a more powerful launch into the water, and that worked in order to grab that very precious draft. That is exactly what you are seeing right now. Esperanza Barreras is going to catch that draft. She's now positioning herself in that draft. Beautiful shot here. This is great for educational purposes, actually. And look at that turn. She makes sure that Duna doesn't go too far away. She's going to, again, try and grab that little draft behind Duna's Gordillo's tail. And look at Anna Tchirky in the back in third. And Mélanie Lafenêtre losing a bit of stamina there, maybe, or just strategically making sure she keeps the fourth position. Well, I was going to say it doesn't really matter what position you're in. The A finals are actually the spots in the A final are actually based on the time and the position in the in those opening rounds. But will it make a difference with that straight line towards that yellow buoy at the start? It seems to, with Duna Gordillo, who was the first to reach that yellow buoy over there in the very first initial lap of this course. And being first, and now remaining in first position, but Esperanza Barreras could still make a move in the last in this last lap. I believe this is the last lap, and Anna Cherki has definitely made a big move there. She's catching up a little with the two Spaniards, but Mireia Fenet has fallen behind a little. Duna Gordillo from Spain in first position. Two very strong Spanish athletes. At the front of this first semi-final here in Vilsane, we had to get up early. The start was at 7:30. It's all based on the wind and tide conditions, more importantly. And also the time was decided so that the athletes have got a good break after their first initial round of qualification towards the finals before they move on to the final. They recharge the batteries, and this afternoon we will have the big finals. This is the last day of individual racing here in this European Stand-Up Paddle Championships. We had the SUP surf, we had the sprints, we had the long distance, and now we're bringing to you the technical races. With a course of about 5K, 5 kilometers for these athletes, a maximum of 2 open men and women per country and 1 junior boy and girl per nation being represented. Here we have 16 nations. That's 6 more than the last EUROSUP in Sardinia in 2018. So the event is growing, and I hope that these images will mean that more countries will be making their way to the next EUROSUP. I don't have any information on what the next European Stand-Up Paddle Championships will be and where and when it will be. In 2018, there were talks of organizing this event every 2 years instead of yearly. And hopefully I will have more information before we end this week. So this afternoon or tomorrow I might be able to give you more information on that. Look at Nicoline Rasmussen. And Duna Gordillo and Esperanza Barreras. Going for a last lap, I believe. And again, that very efficient launch in the water by Duna Gordillo. And look at what Esperanza Barreras is doing right now. Paddling hard. There is a battle going on between those two Spaniards. They are obviously friends, being in the Spanish team, but they also train in different clubs in different on different islands. One is on the island of Mallorca, the other one on one of the Canary Islands. And there is a race also for that first spot within the Spanish team. We'll have Laura Kedglas. No, we won't have Laura Kedglas later on because we only have 2 open women. Laura Kedglas, who was the 2018 European champion in long distance, took another medal in long distance on Wednesday. And I believe she is getting married in a few weeks. And Laura Kedglas is Duna's coach. in Mallorca, in Club Mar Balear in Port Adriano. Organizer of the Port Adriano Sup race every year in June. Duna Gordillo, last lap for the Spaniards. Duna Gordillo in the lead right now. Esperanza Barreras is going to have to work on her start. She had an amazing start in the long distance on Wednesday and took a very early command, never to let go of it. And strangely enough, in the sprints, she had a pretty awkward semi-final where only 30 meters after launching, she was very much behind the leading women and didn't qualify for the final, which was a bit of a surprise coming from a champion who this year once again has been doing really well on the Spanish and international scene. We're talking about the two-time ISA World Champion 2019 in El Salvador, Esperanza Barreras, sponsored by Starboard. And she made up for that on Wednesday by winning the long distance. She's currently in second position right there. And hasn't managed to go. You can see she comes back very quickly as soon as there's no turns. But because Duna Gordillo is very technically skilled, but also because she's first at every single buoy, hence the very importance of being first at the first buoy, because once you've got that top spot at the buoy, you control the race. It is very difficult to take you over once you are in the lead. Luckily, you've got all these stretches of water between buoys, which allows for overtaking potentially. But as the competition will progress, it will be more and more difficult to do so. So, technical racing, one of the keys is definitely about getting that first spot at the first buoy. All right, so in the back, we have Anna Tchirki, and here's Duna Gordillo, but we've got Anna Tchirki on the SIC board there. So it's NSP Starboard and SIC, followed by 425 Pro, if Mélanie Lafenêtre is still in fourth position. Right here, we've got actually catching up on the last athletes. I wonder if that's Vera Lindmark. I think it is. We're going to see that maybe on the with another angle. Yes, this is Vera Lindmark from Sweden being caught by Duna Gordillo. So it was fast for Duna Gordillo and Esperanza Barreras. Duna Gordillo reaching the shores of Vilsane, the white sands of Vilsane, for a win in hit number one, semi-final number one of the technical race for the open women. The NSP catches the starboard, and Duna Gordillo takes off her leash, and she now runs towards the arch. She is first, and she will get to pick her position in the final. Esperanza Barreras in second.
We're down here on the beach, Mattia, and we have just seen both Duna Gordillo coming through in first position and in second position, Esperanza Barreras. Really incredible paddling out there from the two Spanish athletes. They are almost probably about 300 or 400 meters difference in between. And here we can see Tchirki as well making her way through. Incredible work from all of them. And we will see if we can grab an interview over here very shortly But we are going to go over here as I have two of the girls that have made it through to the A final. And here in second position, we have Esperanza Barreras. Esperanza, hello. Congratulations. You and Duna were pushing from the very beginning. How are the conditions out there today? It looks like a long one.
Yeah, it looks more like a long distance on the technical, but it was nice. We're really tricky with all the turns, so fun.
But it looks like both of you girls, you had a big advantage from the beginning from the rest of the fleet. You were very close together. Do you think that the finals is going to be the similar? Because there's a lot of very good athletes coming up, and now heat number 2. What's your tactics?
I don't really know. All the athletes are really strong, so I can't say nothing now. Just wait the final and see what happens.
Well, there it is. We're going to be waiting for that final. Esperanza, congratulations to you for making it through to that A final. Mattia, back to you.
Thank you, Joe. And we are going to have this little duo going on all day between Joe and myself. Joe will be sometimes with me in the booth, and we'll be heading to the arch for the interviews of the winners, so we can have their impressions right after the end of their race. This is Alex Tyra from England, a fairly new SUP racer on the international scene. Alex comes from a cycling and triathlon background. Here's Caelan Lockhart, Team Belgium, all by himself, warming up for the upcoming men's race. Caelan Lockhart, who lives in Australia. He is Australian, but he is also Belgian, and took advantage of a long trip in Europe, a long SUP racing trip in Europe to take part in the Belgian championships in order to qualify for Team Belgium. And Vincent Klaskens, who might be watching, who is the one of the most active figures in on the Belgian SUP racing scene, helped him to get that qualification and make sure that administratively everything is in order for the Australian to be able to compete for Team Belgium. And here he came to Wilsane with the Belgian flag. Caelan Lockhart, who races for Team NSP. Wow, what a great shot as we had that last starboard racer crossing the line. Not the last one, that was Alex Tyra, I believe. Vera Lindmark from Sweden is the last athlete to come to the finish line. And you can perceive some of those small ripples, some of the small swells. They are definitely having an impact on the racing. We saw earlier on Duna Gordillo attacking one of those in order to distance herself from Esperanza Barreras. So, if my calculation is correct, and I'm waiting for the final confirmation, of course, because we've got a whole team of judges watching the race and making sure that all rules are being respected. But if my calculations are correct, Duna Gordillo, Esperanza Barreras, Anna Tchirski, and Mélanie Lafenêtre, 2 Spaniards, 1 Swiss, and 1 French athletes are making it through to the A final, which will happen this afternoon. And if you are watching on Facebook, make sure you say hi, make sure you wave, make sure you give me a thumb up, make sure you share this live stream as much as possible. Let's make our sport popular. Let's show how much of a sport it is, because people don't know that. People think that stand-up paddling is just a leisure activity you do on an inflatable board in the summer with the kids, well, you can definitely put kids on those boards, but you can also make them race, and you can also race yourself. Of course, we have all kinds of competitions for all tastes around the world. Short technical races, very long, ultra long distance races, downwind races, sprints. We can do pretty much everything we want on those boards, and it's definitely a great sport for the mind and the body, and we are hooked, all of us, the SUP race community. And let's grow the family, let's share this live stream, let's reach big numbers. The big finals are coming up this afternoon. This will be the last opportunity for some individual racing. Then we will move on Saturday, tomorrow, to the relay racing of the nations. We've got 6 or 7 nations which will need to score points, which have a team big enough to line up for the relay races tomorrow. So this will definitely be a fun event to watch and to broadcast. And I am watching your comments here on the Facebook stream. So whatever questions you have, please feel free to shoot them right here on the Total SUP Facebook page, and we'll try and address them in the upcoming hour and a half, 1 hour and a half. We've got 3 more races to go through this morning. We've got the second heat of the women's, and then we will have the men's semi-final. No junior racing this morning. We'll go straight to the final with them. This afternoon we will have 6 races this afternoon, I believe, with B finals and A finals for the open men and women. And warming up in that dry robe, I believe this is Elin Aulin from Sweden. So Team Sweden is also getting ready. We will see Patrick Boyum later on in the men's, probably the oldest of this of the field today. It's a bit of a teddy bear for Team Sweden. He's the captain of the team. Here's Paulina Herpol from Germany. Who had a great run in the surf. We will have in the second heat Amandine Chazot from France, Nicoline Rasmussen from Denmark, Laura Dalpont from Italy, Caterina Stenta also from Italy, Elina Aulin, we saw her warm up from Sweden, Tanja Eker from Germany, Paulina Herpel, we've seen her face. Here's Tanja Eker with a pink hat, 404 represents, and Emily Evans from Wales, the new superstar from Wales. And we're going to go in a few seconds in a commercial break. Thank you very much.
os og nyd sommeren med Oyster. Du får fri tale og 30 GB data for kun 89 kroner per måned. Oyster, det er bedst til prisen.
And welcome back everyone to Vilsana, the little village of Vilsana, which means White Sands here on the west coast of Denmark. We are getting ready for heat number 2 of the technical race with the women's. We've got Amandine Chazot, Nicoline Rasmussen, Laura Dalpont, Katerina Stenta, Elina Olin, Tanja Ecker, Paulina Herpol, and Emily Evans. That last name made her first international appearance here at EUROSUP. She was on the podium in the sprints. She comes from Wales, and she is a new face to watch. Sponsors, get your checkbook ready because Emily Evans is the new superstar. She was 3rd in the sprints and she came out of nowhere. Well, according to the SUP race world anyway, because she has a very strong background in whitewater rafting. Here's Amandine Chazot on the Sonova. Nicoline Rasmussen, Laura Dalpont, Katerina Stenta, and a great start by Amandine Chazot there. She's definitely in first position now. Great start as well by Tanja Ecker, the German, on the 4-4 board. We've got that SIC board of Emily Evans right now in 3rd position, but climbing up to 4th is Katerina Stenta, of course. Katerina Stenta, very much used to international podiums, both at European and ISA events. We've got a great start also by Nicoline Rasmussen, but look at what Amandine Chazot is doing to those women, taking the lead with great power there. Amandine Chazot, 2-time vice world champion in 2017 and 2019. Amandine Chazot, who climbed on the podium in the long distance. She's reaching that yellow buoy in first. We saw how crucial it was for these athletes to be in first, and that turn takes her even further. There's a little bit of chaos behind her, behind Amandine. Chaos between Tanja, Katerina, and Emily Evans on the SIC. The superstar from Wales is currently in 2nd position. Emily Evans, what a crazy turnout of events for that Welsh athlete whom we interviewed a few months ago. You can read all about Emily Evans in an interview we had with her when Blackfish Paddles, the Canadian paddle brand, announced a sponsorship with a Welsh athlete. Well, they had a bit of a flair there because a few months later she's competing internationally and scoring some podiums for herself and for Team Wales. She was born in London, but she lives in the south of Wales. She's very much an outdoor person. She is a kayak instructor, and she is also very keen training geek. She's really into mental preparation as well, and it plays a big role in her training. Look at her going in second place, followed by Katerina Stenta, but at the front, Amandine Chazot on the Sonova, also with a blackfish paddle, is very much in a comfortable position right there at the front. So it's Sonova SIC starboard, and 404, the Californian brand, with Danny Ching as the founder, the champion Danny Ching, and an OC outrigger canoe paddler, and obviously a very strong stand-up paddle race paddler from Los Angeles. Amandine Chazot, the Bretonne from France, with most likely Boris Gimbrès, her husband, watching from home. All right, we are starting the second part of the course, which is basically 5 laps now of red buoys only. Emily Evans in second place. A very impressive third place in the sprints on Tuesday. She was a bit out of her comfort zone in the long distance on Wednesday. Katerina Stenta in third. We have a fight going for that fourth place between 2 German women, I believe, Tanja Ecker and Paulina Herpol. We have to follow that very, very closely. We have in third, actually, Tanja Ecker, who's made a big move onto Katerina Stenta, who's losing a bit of ground there, right next to Nicoline Rasmussen, and Paulina Herpol, I think, is climbing up, as well as Laura Dalpont. So there is a fight going on for that top 4 position. And Joe is back with us. What did you see on the beach, Joe?
Hey, thank you, Mathieu. Yeah, the beach, the energy is getting higher and higher. A lot of the athletes are actually saying that this is a very long technical race, that it really does take it out of you, and you have to, at the beginning, not go as fast as maybe you want to, because you have to pace yourself. We can see, for example, some of the more experienced athletes out there, let's say not sprinting at the beginning, because they do know that they have a total of 6 laps completing to be able to get through that final. And let's not forget to make their way through to that A final, the top 4 of each heat. Then what that would mean is they don't have to do 1 more heat, so they can have a little rest. So important out there, because especially if you have to go out and do it 1 more time, that could make a big difference when you come down to the grand finale. So looking forward to seeing what the action is out there. And as you said already, we have Amandine Chazot from France leading the pack there. And a very, very commanding, you can see she is starting, probably got about maybe 5 or 6 board lengths on the rest of the athletes. And Emily Evans there, very strong performance here early on in the morning. We've got a beautiful golden light coming over. You can see the birds are flying, the sun is shining. It's like a fairy tale out there at the moment. But I am going to say, I definitely prefer to be in here talking about this tech race than would be doing it, because man, it may seem short, but once you're down on the shore, it is a very long one. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we saw in the previous heat, Duna Gordillo, who came in first position, was 33 minutes 30 seconds. That is a very long time to be paddling non-stop. So yeah, it definitely is going to come down to pacing and also the fitness level of the athletes that are out there on the water.
Absolutely, those buoy turns are definitely taking a strain on the body and also the mind, as these athletes know that they're going to have to do the same thing again, the top 4 anyway, in the A final. The other 4 will move on to the B final. There will be 2 races for these athletes, and although in the B final they will not be going for a podium, they will be scoring very important points towards the overall nation ranking of these European stand-up paddle championships here on the west coast of Denmark. And France is the 3-time champion so far in 3 competitions. This is the 4th one. The last European Championships took place in Sardinia in 2018. And among others, Martin Vitry scored 2 gold medals in the long distance and the technical race. Then we didn't have the sprints then, and France was for the 3rd time in 2018 designated the European champion, and they are currently in the lead on that scoreboard, which is updated every day, by the way. You can see the post we do on the Facebook page, and you can see that France has currently a very short lead on the competition. So the competition is definitely not over for all these teams. We've got some very strong teams with Team Italy, Team Spain right now in 2nd place. I think Team Italy is in 3rd, and Denmark, the host nation, is in the 4th. This is Emily Evans on the buoy turn, and Amandine Chazot made sure that she was in front very, very early. She did reach that yellow buoy in first, and I think she's increasing her lead at every stroke by a few centimeters, and she's got already a 30-meter lead over Emily Evans, which is a very impressive story to witness here in Vilsane. The birth of the international SUP racer Emily Evans on that SIC board in the background. She actually won against Esperanza Barreras, 2-time world champion, on one of the sprint heats. Amandine Chazot looking good. Very athletic woman. She's also a mom, and she took some time off subfoiling, which is her other passion on the water, and we thought that she might take a little break from SUP racing, and so she did for a few months, and she came back very, very strong, qualifying once again for Team France.
And here we can also see Caroline Stenta from Italy making her way through, and at the moment Emily Evans in 2nd position, but Amandine Chazot has a commanding lead. She was already back on the water when the rest of the athletes were starting to jump off for their sprint to go around this little sand section we have here. What a beautiful day, number 7 of the EUROSUP 2022. A big shout out and thank you to the European Surfing Federation, to the Danish SUP and Surf Federation, and also to Waters, our local organizer, for putting this beautiful event on, and all the best of the best of the European SUP world down here battling it out against themselves and Mother Nature, as my good old friend Mr. Tronolo would say. And it is a battle out there at the moment, because places for that A final are up for grabs. We will have to see what is going to be happening, because that will definitely make a difference, because it means that they can have a small rest. Let's not forget, at the moment, what we're going to be doing is the 4 semi-finals. So up next, we have 2 more semi-finals of the men, and then we will be going through to the grand finales in the afternoon, where we will start off at 3 o'clock Central European time. So yeah, really looking like we have a full action-packed day of racing. And at the moment, the time to beat is 33 minutes 30 from Duna Gordillo, the young Spaniard, 19 years of age, coming out of SUP Baleares. Some very young talents coming out of the Spanish fleet, as they are one of the top contenders for the podium here of the overall ranking, together with the Italians, with the French, and with the Danish athletes. We will have to find out, because let's not forget, we also have the relays will be coming up tomorrow. And we will see who will be crowned the overall European team champions One of the things I love about this event is that you have all the teams down here. You can see the support. They're more than teams, they are family. You know, you have the French athletes shouting, ale, ale. You have the Italians go, andiamo, andiamo. The Spaniards going, vamos, vamos. And unfortunately, my Danish is a little rusty, so I do apologize. But it is great to see the action and how the vibe is down here on the beach. And as we said, more than 230 athletes, 16 different countries. And it is so cool to see all the different flags flying high, everybody bumping shoulders, and once again having a great time at events.
Yes, Joe. The organizers are doing a great job. This is an event put together by the European Surfing Federation, the Danish Surfing Federation, and the Waters Festival. And Catherine Fransen, the project manager of that event, is doing an incredible job with an army of volunteers. And I would like personally to thank them for the beautiful images that we are able to bring to you this morning from Vilsana with some drone shots and different cameras. I wish it was like that every weekend for me. That would, I think that would make our sport bigger. And I think it is very important that some events are taking this communication very seriously, because indeed it's a big push for more SUP racers around the world, as I hope some youngsters are looking at Amandine Chazot right now and thinking one day it will be me out there on the water for Team France. And Joe is going to go to the beach, as very soon we will have our finishers. So let's have a look at what Amandine Chazot has completed this year. She started the season with an international competition in Switzerland. It was the Thun competition, and she, against Amandine Esperanza Barreras, won twice actually. So what a big comeback for Amandine Chazot back then. And she did 3 races there. She had 2 first spots and a second place. So that was already a big start for Amandine Chazot in 2022. Then she went to Vendée Gloss, where she won the technical race and the long distance. She was 4th at the World SUP Festival Costa Blanca in Alicante, which is an event I keep talking about because I believe this has become the PPG of Europe. The World SUP Festival in Alicante gathered the top 50 European and international athletes. We had Michael Booth, we had Ty Judson, and more in Alicante, and I believe this is going to be a massive event coming up. It's actually a very big event, organized by Daniel Parres from Parres Water Sports down in Santa Pola, where you have a huge community, not just within the Parres Water Sports Club, which has something like 200 paddlers, and half of them are youngsters, and you have in an area of 100 kilometers around Santa Pola 4 or 5 clubs with the same number of SUP racers, and that makes up for some great local racing, but also for a very strong Spanish team with some athletes coming from there, but also from the Canaries and also from Mallorca. Look at the score right now with Amandine Chazot in first place, Emily Evans in second place. Very athletic women in second place, Emily Evans from Wales. She is definitely telling us one thing: you can rely on her being in among the top women in the future. The 31-year-old Emily Evans from Wales. A very impressive position to be when you look at who's behind, with the likes of Tanja Ecker from Germany, Katerina Stenta now in third position, Tanja Ecker just behind her, and Nicoline Rasmussen. There is going to be that battle, I am telling you, between those three women to make sure, and perhaps Laura Dal Ponte, who's not far behind, in sixth position right now for that spot in the top four. And those images, ooh, watch out, Amandine Chazot. A little mistake there by the French woman as Emily Evans is catching up with the French athletes. Will Emily smell the blood in this first semi-final? That's a pretty unusual mistake by Amandine Chazot there. She was very much in command. She maybe took a little risky turn there, a bit too radical and a bit too quick, and didn't manage that flat water, pretty much flat water buoy turn. But she's quickly back up at the front. Let's see what Emily Evans does. Emily doesn't slow down. She actually has a pretty high frequency stroke right now. Just 5 or 6 meters behind the tail of Amandine Chazot. So about 2 boards length from the top of the race. Pretty decent turn as well. Bit wide by Emily Evans, who's also impressed me with one thing in the sprints: the handling of those small surf. So she can actually, she knows her board already. Already. She's been sub racing for 2 years now. Look at how quickly she's repositioning herself in that, not quite yet in the draft, but in the middle of that little wave that Amandine Chazot is creating with the tail of her board. And now perhaps going for the inside of that buoy turn. She is definitely on the inside, but perhaps not close enough to be able to bother Amandine Chazot on that buoy turn. We've got 10 meters to go before it comes. Here it is. So right hand turn for Amandine Chazot, followed by Emily Evans. In first and second, it'd be great if we could have a look at what's happening in the back, because these two women are safe, but there is a battle for a top 4 spot. And as far as I'm aware, it hasn't been decided yet. Look at John Carter in the water, the legend photographer, 30 years. Ooh, Emily Evans also makes a similar mistake as Amandine Chazot a few minutes ago. That's another indication that things can happen however good you are. And Amandine Chazot reaches, I think for the last time, that last buoy, the 6th red buoy of the second part of the course. And she's now making her way back to the shore, to the finish line. Let's look at her attitude. Pretty focused all the way to the finish. She's going to, I believe this is the finish line. We'll see. She's not taking off her leash yet, so there might be another lap to do. Amandine Chazot So World Surf Festival was a clear indication of her. No, she's got another lap to go. I'm sorry, yeah. Another lap to go on that Sonova board. Designed and built in Thailand, just like 3 or 4 other international brands like Starboard, like NSP and Fanatic in the Cobra factory. Here comes Caterina Stenta from Italy. She was a bit disappointed by her sprint performance on Tuesday. We saw her paddle more than surf in the downwind on Wednesday. She wasn't as comfortable in the bumps as the competition, I felt, but she's got the stamina, that's for sure, because Caterina Stenta is a trail runner as well as a sup racer. She discovered trail running. Here she is. She discovered trail running during the lockdowns, and since then has actually performed really well in that sport, in that new sport of her. And I believe she even has some sponsorships with some big brands in trail running. She won some races in Italy, and now she competes already internationally. She's turning left right now. Caterina Stenta on the starboard in 3rd position. So we've got a Sonova, an SIC, and a starboard. And 2 Blackfish paddles. I don't talk much about paddles, but in the lead right now we've got the Canadian brand, also manufactured in Thailand. And Blackfish paddles currently in 1st and 2nd with Amandine Chazot and Emily Evans. So they might not even know it, but they are teammates within Team Blackfish Paddles. Amandine and Emily from France and from Wales, and Caterina Stenta is all starboard in 3rd position right now. Let's find out what Caterina has been doing this year. I saw her again with the international athletes in Santa Pola at the beginning of beginning of June, and she's picked her races pretty wisely this year. She raced 6 or 7 times, among some other results. Oh, look at those little bumps there. That Amandine likes. She loves to downwind, and however small those bumps are, just like we saw in the long distance the other day, she knows how to handle them, just like Titouan Pouillot and Noé Gariou, who finished 1st and 2nd in the long distance. Look at that little gap opening up now behind Amandine, as she's using those little bumps to gain some lead command over Emily Evans, the Welsh athlete. So Caterina Stenta, the Italian, in 3rd. She was in 6th place in Santa Pola at the World Surf Festival Costa Blanca, which was a race won by Esperanza Barreras. In 2nd there was Duna Gordillo. In 3rd, Anaïs Guillaumard. In 4th, Amandine Chazot. So it was definitely a very, very strong race. So finishing 6th was a very good result for Caterina Stenta, but not a surprising one, because she is indeed very much used to international sup racing now. She's been racing for 4 or 5 years now with Team Italy. And she's right behind Emily Evans over there, reaching that 4th buoy on the starboard. That's her over there in the background. So Amandine Chazot, Emily Evans, Katerina Stenta, and look at that battle going on between Tanja Ecker and Nicoline Rasmussen. And look at that battle going on with Tanja Ecker right now. This is the one battle that's really of importance in this last part of the race. We've got Amandine Chazot in first. She is sprinting now almost towards the finish line, just making sure that she's got the word out there that she is definitely one of the strong contender for a European title today. After Duna Gordillo's win in the first heat, but look at Emily Evans. Who would have thought this woman from Wales, who was unknown on the international scene, would be in second position? And once again, I'm losing count. It looks like they're going for another lap, and Emily Evans is using that launch sprint to perhaps take first place. He tries anyway. And Amandine Chazot is in the lead. Wow, what a long technical race. This is twice already that I've started calling for the finish of the event, and I apologize. But this is actually a long course. We were told the course would last between 25 and 30 minutes, and indeed it was over the 30-minute mark in the first heat with 33 minutes and 33 seconds for Duna Gordillo. So we're going to have to watch our clock at the finish of this race. But there is now a battle going on, so it makes for some more battles. First at the front for first and second place, with Amandine Chazot still in the lead on the Sonova, and Emily Evans, strangely enough, is that out of lack of experience, but not using the draft of Amandine. She could play it maybe a bit more strategically, stay in the draft, and make her move potentially if she wants to right after a buoy turn, and also positioning herself on the outside until now. So not the best strategy so far, but as long as she secures a spot in that in that group of 4 women to qualify for the A final, she is fine. And that position before the buoy meant that she had a pretty wide turn, meaning that she lost a bit of ground, and now she's trying to climb up and perhaps catch that draft just behind Amandine. In third, Katerina Stenta, whose last race, I believe, was the EUROSUP race in Budapest, and she actually won the sprints there. She won the long distance, and she was third in the technical race. So don't rule out Katerina Stenta for the A final, because she might be playing it a bit strategically here. Looks like she likes straight lines, though, as she likes the sprints and the long distance. Not has the best results, her best results in technical racing, but Katerina Stenta is the Italian champion, a very strong athlete for sure, and it will be an amazing final with 4 women already qualified: Duna Gordillo, Esperanza Barreras, Anna Tchirky, and Mélanie Lafenêtre. And it looks like there will be another French woman in this final, as well as a Welsh athlete and an Italian one, Caterina Stenta. The battle for fourth is actually happening, and I'm going to ask my crew to try as much as possible to show what is going on between Tanja Eker and Nicoline Rasmussen in this lap. And Emily Evans, very close to Amandine. We'll see if there is going to be some sprint action. Is there going to be some sprint action between Amandine and Emily? That's what we want to know. But we also want to know if there is, oh, look at in the background, Nicoline Rasmussen has made her move. And it looks like Tanja Eker is currently sitting in fifth. Is Tanja Eker, the German champion, gonna miss the final? And I'm throwing it to Joe right now because
so it
he's
looks
on the
like
beach
now it is the
waiting
final
for
leg
the
here.
athletes across the line.
Matthias, I can see Amandine making their way up front. Emily Evans there. To a very big battle in between these two athletes. But we didn't know it was going to be like that. And you can hear the crowd starting to cheer as the rest of the fleet is starting to go around their final lap. But these two ladies on your screen, Amandine Chazot and Emily Evans, France and Wales, powering it down to the very end. Only about a board length in between both of them. Chazot taking it off. A little bit of a surfy rider come in. And there it is. It is going to be Amandine Chazot is the winner of this first semi-final, and Emily Evans over here from Wales too. I'm going to get in here. Amandine, congratulations. Great race out there. It looks like it's long, huh?
Yeah, for a technical race, it's long. It's a lot of, let me 2 seconds, lot of buoy turns, lot of running on the sun, but well, I think this afternoon it will be a little more windy, so maybe it can be fun. There is a side that is really with a small downwind, so yeah, I think this afternoon it will be a good fight, and I'm really looking forward for this afternoon.
Yeah, we are all looking very, very much forward to the big finals this afternoon. Amandine, congratulations one more time. Great work out there. And Mathieu, back to you.
Wow, a very out of breath Amandine Chazot. It did look very long out there indeed, and we're going to wait for her time to find out how quick she was. But here comes number 4, Nicoline Rasmussen. I think she's going to be very happy with this qualification. She's got that 4th place, the very much needed 4th place to be able to qualify for the A final. That fight did happen between Nicoline, the Danish athlete, and Tanja Eker, 2 women who've been on the international circuit for years now. Tanja Eker has got 5 titles in Germany in SUP racing, but that wasn't good enough today against the power of Nicoline Rasmussen, the Danish champ, who managed to make a move towards the end of the race for a secured 4th spot in that big final coming up this afternoon, final A of the technical women's. And we have our 8 now women qualified for the A final, and that is Duna Gordillo, Esperanza Barreras, Anna Tchirky, Mélanie Lafenêtre, Amandine Chazot, Emily Evans, Caterina Stenta, and Nicoline Rasmussen. It is going to be an action-packed final with these women. And we'll be moving on soon to the men's semi-finals with also a very, very strong field of athletes, the top European athletes. 2 men max per country. And we are now going to take a little commercial break.
Kan man virkelig gøre alle glade? Både sommerhusejerne og feriegæsterne? Ja, det kan man, og det gør vi hver eneste dag hos Esmark. Vi elsker at skabe de perfekte rammer for vores feriegæster på Vestkysten. Du lejer nemlig ikke kun et sommerhus hos Esmark. Du lejer en oplevelse for livet. Se, hvad vi kan gøre for dig og din ferie på esmark.dk. Esmark professionel sommerhusudlejning uden bøvl.
And welcome back, everybody, as we are just here. If you're just joining us, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are, watching our EUROSUP 2022 down here in Denmark. We can see some of the athletes down on the water starting to get ready. There you can see some of the Italian members getting ready for some action. We saw them out there on the water already, and now we're looking forward to seeing as we are going to be moving over to the men. So starting off, we have Titouan Boujou, Noah Stanler, Antonio Morille, Leonard Nika, Paulo Freitas, Patrick Boyum, Maui Sach, Ben Morham, Thomas Johan Nielsen, Kaylan Lockhart, Christian Taucher, and Imad Ahiglinoa from Morocco. That is the next heat that will be coming up soon as we start the men's side of the technical race down here. Day number 7, EUROSUP, Denmark. And here we can see Elina making her way through, just finishing off also one of the final athletes there of the tech race. And there we can see Karen, Mama as we call her over here on the EUROSUP tour, looking after all the details. And we can see our beautiful tech race course that we have out there. You can see all the boats, everything ready, all the security. The local organisers really put on a solid effort, making sure all the dots are on the I's and all the crosses are on the T's. And then you can see all of the different teams that are down there. And there we have the Swedish competitors ready to rumble. And Patrick Boyum there, saluting his fellow teammates. And there it is. That is our contest area here of Vida Sander EUROSUP 2022 Tech Race, day number 7. And everybody starting to get ready. We can see the English team there also just consulting, getting all the details, knowing what to do. I think the fastest time at the moment was from Duna Gordillo in that first seat. We're just waiting for results to come in there from Amandine Chazot. We will soon find out. Let's see here. Thank you, Mathieu. Just give me some info in. So it looks like, no, unfortunately, times aren't there quite yet. We will have that info for you very soon. But I do think, and these are obviously unofficial results, I do think that Duna Gordillo and Esperanza Barrera, look like they have a little faster pace. Amandine at the beginning of her heat, she was a little chilled, but then Emily Evans started to, tighten up the noose and starting to get a little bit closer in that last final lap. As they went off the beach, they were neck to neck, but Amandine then put in 6th gear, went a little faster, and there's probably about 1 or 2 board lengths in between the top 2 women of that semi-final number 2. So looking forward to seeing who are going to be the top 4 men here going out on the water. And there we have one of the strongest competitors just putting down his board. Number 30, Titouan Pouillot, a very strong competitor, took the win in the long distance yesterday. Didn't have the best sprint, unfortunately, taking 4th position, where he's usually on top of the podium. But I know he wants blood, and he is hungry for this heat. And now that man there as well, 9 times Italian champion, one of the veterans out there, Leonard Nica, getting 3rd position on the subways, putting a hero performance in, going all the way through the repechage and making his way and claiming that bronze medal, and one of the most experienced racers we have out there. So at the moment, heat number 1, if you're just joining us, that is about to start. Titouan Pouillot, Noah Stenler, Antonio Morilla, Leonard Nica, Paulo Freitas, Patrick Boyum, Maui Sach, Ben Morham, Thomas Johan Nilsson, Kaylan Lockhart, Christian Taucher, and Imad Ahiginoa from Morocco. That is the fleet. Those are the athletes that are going to be going out. And there we can see Titouan starting to get his dance on. That is number 3 out there. Leonard Nica starting to get the groove going, starting to move. And we can see him just preparing himself as we are seconds away from the start of heat number 1 of the technical race down here at the EUROSUP 2022. On the overall standings at the moment, let's not forget also the teams fight for the overall. We have in 1st position, we have France. 2nd position, we have Spain. 3rd position, we have Italy. And then in 4th position at the moment is Denmark. It is very close in between them. In between Spain and France, there's only 200 points. So it is getting tight out there. So now every single race is going to make a difference. And we can start to see all of our gladiators, all of our athletes, our warriors starting to step up to the line and get ready to go, go, go.
All right, thank you, Joe. Yes, Titouan Pouillot did pick his 4th individual European title on Wednesday and is definitely going for more. He had a very, very strong long distance race the other day, putting in place his whole strategy, which is basically to wait at the beginning in 5th or 6th position, then make a move to the front to impose his rhythm and making sure to break away from his countryman Noik Gariou. The athletes are right now being called to the line. We're talking about a very strong field, and a Spaniard, Antonio Morillo. We haven't seen him so far in the competition, is going to make an entrance today in the technical race. He is a very, very strong athlete. And we are 5 seconds away from the start with Leo Nika, Thomas Nielsen from Norway, Patrick Boyum, and Maui Sarr, Ben Morham. Of course, Titouan Pouillot and Noah Stender, already crowned champion. The youngster from Denmark. Really fast start by Leonica, the Italian stallion. But in the middle, it's Titouan Pouillot on the NSP, who's got a very, very strong start. We've got Kaelan Lockhart just behind him. Maui Sarr also is having an amazing start. The German who lives in the Canary Islands. So 3 NSP boards at the top of the race right now. And Titouan Pouillot in second. I do believe this is Maui Sarr. This needs to be confirmed, but it's a very, very strong start. I believe I recognize his board, but it could be someone else. We're going to find out in a few seconds, but that NSP board is definitely first to reach. Oh, what a very, very wide turn by that first board, and Titouan Pouillot is using that to now position himself in first place. There is a small bump forming just behind. What happened to that NSP board on the left-hand side now? We've got Titouan Pouillot in the lead, followed by a starboard racer, and look at that huge draft train. We're going to have some action in this heat. This Leonica in third. Another NSP rider. It looks like Kaelan Lockhart, but he's not on his usual board. On the right-hand side could be Antonio Maurillo. We got some information from Joe.
Well, it looks like that is number 16, Mathieu, Ben Morham. So number 16, Ben Morham. So we have in first position, Titouan Pouillot. In second position, slightly a little bit further out, that is Ben Morham. And then we can see Leo Nika out there on the water. So we'll have to see who is going to be coming to this buoy. Hopefully we'll get a closer camera angle to find out exactly. So there it is. Number 30, Titouan Pouillot. Let's have a look. Number 16, Kaelan Lockhart. So yeah, unfortunately we do apologize there, but it looks like there was a mix-up on the numbers. And in second position now we have Leo Nika, and here we have number 10, Antonio Murillo from Spain. That is your top 4.
And already in the lead, Titouan Pouillot, just like he did in the long distance. Look at that gap, about 10 meters, and Leonica has made his move now to second place. Kaelan Lockhart, who's not on his usual 2022 NSP board, he's currently in third. And Antonio Murillo, I told you about that Spanish athlete, a very, very strong athlete. Spain has got a very strong team in fourth position, very technically gifted. And there is a current battle between 3 guys, Leo, Kaelan, and Antonio for second place. But look at a very confident Titouan Pouillot jogging towards the sea to launch himself in that first entire lap, full lap of 6 buoy turns. Ooh, a little mistake by Leonica there. But the top 4 is currently forming a little draft train going on, taking shape with in the chase. It's a Fanatic board. We're going to find out in a bit who that is. This could be Ben Morham on the Fanatic number 13. That is Christian Taucher from Austria, the 17-time Austrian champion. He likes flat water. It's pretty flat today for the Australian, so he could be doing really well today.
And there you can see the young Spaniard battling it out there with Leonica on that buoy. So first position, Titouan Payot. Second position, we have Kaelan Lockhart. Third position at the moment, Antonio Morillo. And in fourth, we have Leonico. But that was a battle for number 3 and number 4. Let's not forget the top 4 athletes will be making their way through to the final, the big final, the final A. So hopefully we will see what is going to happen out there, as there is a lot up for grabs. Let's not forget it is a total of 6 laps. So they've already done their first lap, which is to that yellow buoy all the way out the back, and have a run around the old sand dune. And now it is to the start, where they will have a total of 5 laps. So there you have your top 4 on your screen. And in 5th position, looks like he's gaining a little bit of distance. We can see there the Austrian Christian Taucher.
Yes, and in the chase just behind Christian, we've got Thomas Nielsen. We also have the Danish, now European champion, Noah Stender. So 2 Fanatic board chasing that pack of 4 athletes at the front, with Thomas Nielsen from Norway/California in the mix. And we've got another starboard in there. That is Ben Moham, the English man who lives in the Canaries and trains with Oscar Ruiz, with Esperanza Barreras. But at the front, it's all about controlling the race now for Titouan Payot. On the NSP board, once again at the front, we had a great race by Duna Gordillo in the very first semi-final of the women's. And actually 3 NSP boards with Kaelan Lockhart, which I think he borrowed this board from Maui Sa, because I definitely recognize this board as being... Oh, look at that big sprint by Titouan Payot, now exploiting those little ripples to take him even further away from Kaelan in the chase. It's unbelievable what this New Caledonian athlete can do. World champion, 4-time European champion. He's reaching, I believe, buoy number 4 there. And he is looking over his shoulder to make sure that he's got that comfortable lead. And Kaelan Lockhart going very wide. What's going on with Kaelan Lockhart? Is going to have to work on his buoy turns, this gentleman, if he wants to do better, because he was first at the yellow buoy, and that buoy turn cost him his first place. He was third. Look how wide he is on the right-hand side there. He has got to come back. His fin might even touch the sand as he is so close to the beach. So Kaelan Lockhart may be struggling a little bit with the board, which is not his. And Antonio Morillo is actually using that with the inside advantage there to take the second place. 3 NSP boards in the lead, and in 4th, Leonica on the starboard.
Yeah, Antonio Morillo, this young Spaniard, putting on a solid performance there. I mean, big names in this heat, and he isn't scared at all, going full throttle. But a very unusual, unforced error there from Kaelan Lockhart. I'd like to, I mean, obviously the perspective that we have up here from the stream is a little different than the one down on the beach, so maybe there was a reason for him to be doing that. But it did look like, unfortunately, Antonio got the upper run on him and is now in second position. We will soon find out as we finish watching all of these athletes make it their way through the buoy turn. But yeah, there you can see, okay, so it does look like Kaelan Lockhart has been able to gain back that distance. And I'd say Leonica is playing it cool in the back because he knows top 4 goes through. Is he conserving energy? Is he not? We will find out, because watch out, 17 times champ coming through the back, Christian Taucher. But this man here with a nice little sun flare coming off of his board, Titouan Payot, who at the moment is given a masterclass of the technical racing.
Yes, very experienced Leonica. We have to watch out, of course, for him. He's currently sitting in 4th. I've seen him races where he was leading at the front, but burning so much energy, and I think he learned from that. The Italian stallion Leonica, currently in 4th. I think he's controlling his race right now, making sure that precisely as he is getting a little bit older than when we first saw him race 10 years ago, Leonika basically saving a bit of stamina for this afternoon's big final. Of course, he's got to be concerned about not making any mistakes. And Titouan Pouillot on his third lap right now, just cruising. Look how slow, but at the same time how powerful and efficient. You wouldn't believe it. This stroke is for the New Caledonian, who comes from outrigger canoe. He's got a huge experience in paddling. Ooh, there's a bit of a battle there for the 5th place with Thomas Nielsen taking the inside there on Christian Taher on the Fanatic. It's actually 4 guys right now going for 5th and trying to get into that 4th spot. Safe zone for the A final, but at the front it's 3 NSP with Titouan, Kaylin Lockhart and Antonio Morillo, followed by the starboard champ from Italy, Leonika.
Yeah, there you can see there is a beautiful fight going on for second position in between Lockhart and Morillo. And you can also see with this drone shot that we have here, there are some bumps. So when they come down on this back stretch, they will be able to get onto some of them. And that's where we've actually seen Titouan Pouillot take some advantage. He is a magician when it comes to finding those little ripples to push forward and just keep the efficiency. Because let's not forget, 6 complete laps. They're doing over 5 kilometers of distance. Each one of these laps about 600 meters. So yeah, they really have to conserve energy, because, you know, some athletes will go out fast at the beginning, burn themselves out, and then they will fall behind. Some athletes will go too slow and then get caught up. But it's the experienced athletes, the athletes that know their rhythm, know how they have, what they have to do, how to do it, will probably go a little bit easier at the beginning. And depending on how the race is going, they will either accelerate or keep that same pace. Because let's not forget, Mathieu, top 4 will be continuing and making it through to that A final.
Yes, and given what we've seen from Kaylin Lockhart, we're definitely going to have to watch his buoy turns, because this could potentially cost him one of those 4 places at the top. He's a very strong paddler, as we can see. He's actually hammering it down right now towards Titouan and gaining some ground towards the New Caledonian champ. But those buoy turns so far are a bit of an issue. We're going to see how well he's doing. That's pretty good. So I'm just wondering what happened before. We know that the wind it definitely comes from the south, so he might have been pushed a bit north by one gust of wind earlier on. We'll see. We actually have some news from Florence Turketil, the wife of a shaper Alain Turketil, that Kaylin is on Ty Judson's Carolina board, which is a model of NSP. And thank you, Florence, for giving me that inside knowledge. Ty basically left his board with Kaylin Lockhart. Kaylin was touring Europe. Ty Judson will most likely come back to Europe later on for some more competitions, and the two were traveling together in many European events, a lot of French ones. And here comes Kaylin Lockhart. So I thought Kaylin had borrowed the board from Maui Sa, but Maui Sa is actually in the back with his own NSP board, and that was him, Kaylin, who was pushing really hard on that first stretch of water towards the yellow buoy.
And you can also see there just that Titouan took a little look-see back on a buoy turn. So that's actually quite a strategic move. So instead of looking so that other competitors can see he's concerned and looking backwards, he does it in the middle of a turn, so maybe they won't notice that. And we've seen that. We can see that in cycling. We can see that in other sports as well. They're all strategy. I mean, the mental power that this man has out there is incredible. And you can already see he is probably a decent 20 meters ahead of the pack, but the beast Kaelan Lockhart, probably one of the biggest and strongest athletes we have out there, hammering down on the beautiful waters down here at Vida Sande for the Denmark EUROSUP 2022 championships. But that young man there, number 10, is starting to gain grounds on Kaelan every single start of a lap. But then as soon as Kaelan starts to add that 5th gear in, he seems to lose advantage a bit. But still, he is in the top 4, so he is in a very nice and commanding position at the moment. But the youngster is starting to gain grounds. And at the moment, it looks like 4th position, Leonika. But still, I reckon there might be a strategy out there, Mathieu. I have a feeling that Leo knows that if he can burst forward and maybe try and catch up on them, maybe it's not worth it because they're already a little bit of a distance away. But let's not forget the next final will be coming up and top 4 will still be in there.
Yes, definitely some strategy being played right now, and the best part of that strategy was definitely to get to the front of the race, and that's exactly what that NSP trio has managed to do with Titouan Pouillot right now. Look at that, is a bit on a touring session right now, just having fun around those buoying turns, making them look so easy. Kaelan Lockhart, let's see how he does on that buoy turn. In second. 3rd place, Antonio Morillo. Antonio Morillo, who hasn't raced a lot this year, 5 races, mainly in Spain. He was first at the Granada Sub Games. He took the 12th place in the long distance in Port Adriano, which is a pretty average result, but the field was really, really stacked. At the Gran Canaria Pro in the technical race, he was 5th. He also had a 5th place in Namur on the Euro Tour, and he took 1st place in Huelva. His last SUP race before EUROSUP 22. So is up there in 3rd position, Antonio Morillo from Spain. NSP in control of that first semi-final in the open men's. Look at that, Titouan Pouillot. We're definitely hoping for more wins later on. But look at Kaelan Lockhart. So Kaelan Lockhart is fairly new SUP racer. He's also a rugby player. He comes from Australia, and I think his opening international season was in 2019, and his first race of the year was the Carolina Cup with Ty Judson, his friend Ty Judson. The 2 Australians showed up on the east coast of the USA in North Carolina for a very epic race. And after that, the 2 made their way to Europe for a long European tour. And Kaelan Lockhart likes it so much over here. He used his van to visit many, many countries, qualify at the Belgian Championships for a spot in the Belgian team. And he's the only one actually in this competition to carry the Belgian flag. Hopefully this will motivate the whole Belgium Federation to put together an entire team, because they do have some very strong paddlers in Belgium for the next European competition. And Kaelan Lockhart actually closing in on Titouan Pouillot. The 2 are friends, and Kaelan Lockhart has still got a bit to learn in terms of technique, but he's such a strong paddler. It will learn fast, and I'm sure it will show in upcoming competitions. Now let's find out if Leo Nika is still in 4th place, while Titouan Pouillot is cruising at the front of the race.
He definitely is. He is a smooth operator out there, getting the bumps, and as soon as one of the athletes seems that they get closer, he grabs a bump and starts to surf away. So yeah, Really knows how to make the most in the efficiency out there. And here we can see him coming in, which is going to be for yet another sprint run. And Kalen in the back there, hammering away. And watch out, Mathieu. I can see Kalen now has gained grounds, because Titouan in the last lap was already back on the water when these guys went back out. And now Kalen, let's see, is very close. And watch out, it is getting close out there. Look at these two go.
Yes, actually, there is an inside story of this. Kellen Lockhart keeps bumping into Titouan Pouillot on all these races, and that's exactly what happened in the first hit in the sprint. He obviously doesn't do that intentionally. The two are very good friends, but I think Kalen has a tendency to do some goofy moves like that, losing control of his board, as we've seen a couple of times already in this heat. So we'll see if that's going to happen again as he managed to catch up with the New Caledonian. But you know what? Titouan Pouillot is definitely aware of that, so he's probably going to try and get away from Kalen.
Yeah, he is, but you can see as soon as it looks like they're getting close, Titouan just puts in another gear and starts to go forward. I definitely think he has a pacing strategy out there, so he is doing as much that he needs to do to maintain that first position. But still, let's not forget, this afternoon at 3 o'clock, we will see the finals, and if they get into that top 4, they will be in that grand finale, and we will have to see who is going to claim the European Championship Tech Race title. At the moment, Titouan has a 4th in the sprints. He has a 1st in the long distance, and looking like he is en route to a top position by the quality of the racing we are seeing out there now. And it does look at that tide is starting to get low, and I reckon these boys are going to need wheels on some of these turns very closely. And Vincent, for the Belgium next year, will be there with a complete and strong Belgium team. So Belgium, that's what we want to see. That is good news. Thank you very much for that insight. It is great to see all of the different nations pushing forward with this beautiful sport of SUP, surf and racing. And already we can see the Belgium athlete, Kalen Lockhart, performing very well here at the moment. 2nd position, and also putting on a solid performance throughout the whole week. Let's not forget, there's been racing, there's been sprinting, there's been long distancing. We're tech racing at the moment, and then there is the relay coming up tomorrow. What a way to start off the morning, as it is just coming up on 10 o'clock over here in Denmark for day number 7 of the competition. Watch out, everybody. It is racing on your screen.
Yes, and coming up after this will be hit number 2 of the men's, with a very, very strong field, as you would expect. And from France, we will have Clément Colmas, who won a silver medal in the sprints on Tuesday. We will have Paul Albert, Christian Andersen from Denmark. We will have the Spaniard Manuel Oyuela, the Italian on the infinity board Ricardo Rossi. We will have the Portuguese Thomas Lacerda, who's very much a lookalike of Antonio Morillo. The two are Portuguese and Spaniard are actually know that they are always mixed up for one another, and they are both on an SP board. That happens at every international race. So if the two qualify, we'll make sure not to mix them up. We've got the Swede Linus Carlsen also lined up. Martin Teichmann from Germany, a very strong contender as well. The Englishman Blue Ewer, top of his game in the UK. He had a bit of a rough patch in the sprints the other day. Donato Friends, 17-year-old champion, who's picked up a 4th place in the long distance the other day. Dan Meili, also from the Netherlands. Andreas Portenschlager from Austria, and from Morocco, living in Switzerland, Hisham Laimina.
Yeah, solid fleet coming our way in that heat number 2. As we can see, at the moment, still in the lead, completing yet another lap. We have Titouan Pouillot just about to come out onto the sand as we continue around and action out there. Let's see what is going to be going on. As you can see one more time, Titouan Pouillot and Kaylan Lockhart, your top 2 contenders. And once again, they're going to be coming off of the water. It does look like Titouan has got a little bit more of an advantage than that last lap. But here we can see Kaylan. Is he going to be making a move on the Frenchman? We will soon find out. But it does seem like at the moment positions are going to be staying the same. And there we have Titouan. Just a nice little stretched out way over as he continues on with this technical race.
Vai Leo, sei comodo, ultimo giro. Vai, sei comodo, sei comodo.
And here we can see Titouan Pouillot, Kaylan Lockhart, Antonio Murillo, and Leonika are your top 4 athletes who, if nothing changes, will be making their way through to the grand final. So final number A. Let's not forget our finals will be happening out there this afternoon from 3 o'clock in the afternoon as we finish that heat number 2 of the men. We will then move on and have a break and be coming back live at 3 o'clock Central European time. But it is these 2 NSP athletes out there separating themselves from the pack, and you can see there Antonio Murillo just falling back a little bit. And there is Leonika, your top 4 of heat number 1. And here we have both of them already as they are approaching the upward mark. So that will be boy number 2, if I'm not mistaken, making their way through and doing the long stretch across the water. And you can see here the beautiful backgrounds that we have in Hvide Sande, Denmark. Hvide Sande meaning white beaches because of the white sand that is known in this area of Denmark, and a perfect water sports location. And here we can see with some of the drone footage, we can see Titouan just cruising on one of those bumps, conserving energy and making sure he stays in that first position so he can make it into that final number A. And there it is, making these boys' turn look very easy as he's going to be making his way down to boy number 5. And then it will be back up and down to come towards the beach run that they have to complete. A total of 6 laps of this course. Let's not forget the first lap they will be going on all the way to the yellow buoy, and then it is 5 laps of the red circuit that we have here. And it looks like Kaylan Lockhart there going a little bit further out to one side as both of these athletes are making their way forward. So let's have a look at the moment. So standings are still the same as we do have Titouan Puyol first. Second position, we have Kalen Lockhart. Third position, we have Antonio Murillo. And fourth position, Leo Nika. Those are your athletes that will be making their way, unless something changes, into the final number A. But anything can happen, as here we can see Titouan cruising and perusing as he makes his way here. And to get some more info down on the shore, we are going to go down to the beach with Mathieu Astier.
And here comes Titouan Puyol, top finisher in this first semi-final. Titouan Puyol, followed by another NSP rider, Kalen Lockhart, and a third one, Antonio Murillo, coming up in fourth. It's Leonica. We have our top four. Titouan Puyol, please. Congratulating, of course, his teammate from NSP, Titouan Puyol. Congratulations. You were cruising out there. Obviously, there was that first sprint towards the buoy. Kalen Lockhart was in first position. He made a very awkward turn, took a very wide turn, and you took advantage of that to take the first position, and you never let go of this. We saw you cruising after that throughout the course. You made it look very easy. How was it for you out there?
Yeah, the body is still a bit sore from the long distance, so this morning it was just to kind of cruise. It's not cruising, but yeah, to rest a little bit and get ready for the real race this afternoon, yes.
Well, I say cruising because you've got such an impressive technique that you make it look so easy. It looks like you are touring out there, but you are definitely pushing hard in this very first semi-final. You already have 4 European individual titles. Are you going today for a 5th one?
Yeah, I'm here to do this. I'm here to get this goal for the team also. So yeah, it's going to be the goal for this afternoon for sure. But all the paddlers are ready. Everybody wants to win, so it's going to be a good entertaining this afternoon. Yeah.
You have 3 hours, a 3-hour break before the big final. How are you going to use those 3 hours?
Yeah, going back home, have some rest, eat a little bit for sure, and yeah, don't sleep because I'm going to be lazy this afternoon if I go for a nap.
Thank you very much, Titouan. Good luck for the big final. That is how big champs do it here in Vilsana on the west coast of Denmark. Back to you, Joe.
Thank you very much, Mathieu. Yes, incredible actions out there on the water by Titouan Puyol. What a way to start off his afternoon, as he will be making his way into that A final together with Kalen Lockhart, Antonio Murillo, and Leonica. And there's the smile there on the screen. Kalen Lockhart, the Belgium athlete. I know, very good in between these two. But while we're waiting to see the action, ahí están los bichos. Antonio Murillo and Oscar Ruiz, the Spanish, one of the Spanish coaches, together with Manuel. So looking forward to seeing more action out there on the water. Bear with us as we are going to be back in a few minutes. We're going to grab a short commercial break and come at you with heat number 2 of the men.
Pris og nyd sommeren med Oyster. Du får fri tale og 30 GB data for kun 89 kroner per måned. Oyster, det er bedst til prisen.
And welcome back, everybody, as we are now going to be moving through to the heat number 2. So we have from France, Clément Comas, we have Christian Andersen, Manuel Oyuela, Ricardo Rossi, Thomas Lacerda, Linus Carlson, Martin Teichmann, Blue Ewer, Donato Faines, Dan Malia, Andreas Pottenschlager, and Hisham Laimina. That is the lineup for the next heat coming out, and there you can see on your screen the Golden Arc, our bridge, our start and finish line down here for the tech race, the final heat of the morning. We can see some of the Spanish athletes, little bit of information, as we can see there. Number 8, Manuel Oyuela, getting ready with his teammates, so he knows exactly what is going on. We just saw Titouan Puyol, Kaylan Lockhart, Antonio Morillo, and Leonica making it through to the final number A. And let's see who is going to be making it through to final number A. The top 4 from this one out on the water. And what a beautiful, calm day it is down here at Vida Sande.
All right, I want to talk about Clément Colmas, while Christian Andersen is actually right in the middle of your screen. We've got Donato Friends also here, Andreas Pottenschlager, number 12. Number 17, that's Paul Albert. Christian Andersen, who finished 3rd in the long distance on Wednesday, picking up his 2nd medal in this European Championship. But Clément Colmas for France, already, that's him right there. He also has a silver medal. He finished 2nd in the sprint. There were 2 Frenchmen in the final of the sprint on Tuesday, Titouan Puyol and Clément. The 2 come from the island of New Caledonia, far, far away from the mainland. That's where they grew up. And actually, Clément Colmas trained with, has been training for years with Titouan, and also Noé Gariou, and also Benoît Rivière, who might be watching, and the whole New Caledonia Surfing League, which do a tremendous job with these athletes, helping them logistically, financially, with great training facilities in New Caledonia. And the result shows when you take care of your athletes. They have great results. They have the time. They have the facilities to train, and the results come quite naturally for these very naturally gifted athletes. We saw Michael Lindberg there. He is from the Danish Surf and Sup Federation, which I would like to insist on that, changed its name to include stand-up paddling in its official naming. So the Danish Surf Federation is now the Danish Surf and Sup Federation, Danmark Surf and Sup, and that means a lot, and maybe other federations could copy that in order to send the message to their stand-up paddle athletes, that they do mean a lot to the federation. In the middle of your screen, we've got, look at that huge bandage on his left knee. This is Thomas Lacerda. He was limping yesterday in the streets of Vilsane. I caught him with his the national director of the Olympic surf team, João Aranha, and they were looking for a pharmacy to help out Thomas Lacerda, who was struggling with his knee. He damaged his meniscus a few weeks ago, and he's suffering from it. So that's to be taken into account in this technical race, which involves a lot of buoy turns, a lot of leg work, and hopefully for Thomas that will not ruin his chances today to make it to the A final. In this final we have, as the water patrol is making sure that no one enters the competition area, we've got Clément Colmas. I've mentioned this gentleman here. We've got Christian Andersen, 2 medals already in this competition, and a very, very good technical racer, Christian Andersen. Watch out for Paul Albert. He is now the leading SUP racer in Denmark. We've got Riccardo Rossi holding his infinity board there for Team Italia. We've got Linus Carlson on the Kona board, Thomas Lacerda. And we've got Donato Friends, the 17-year-old, the tall blonde guy. Expect a very, very fast start by Donato Friends. We also have Dan Maley from the same country, Netherlands. You feel the tension? And off they go. Look at Donato Friends on the left-hand side, but in the middle, Christian Andersen has got the best start. Dan Maley is going down already twice, but at the front, it's Christian Andersen. We don't yet see if Donato Friends is in the mix, but he should be, because he is a very, very fast starter. But look at Paul Albert go, number 17 for Team Denmark on the Fanatic board. He's very much in the lead. Donato Friends was there right on your screen on the blue board, but he's got a different lane. Clément Colmas as well, right there, number 32 in the middle. But it looks like it is Christian Andersen right now, followed very, very closely by number 8. That is, of course, the Spaniard, Manuel Oyela. What is Donato Friends doing so far on the left-hand side? We know how crucial that first yellow buoy is for everyone. Now closing on the inside, Donato Friends in 5th position, but in 2nd, we've got Manuel Oyuela from Spain, following closely the Danish champion. I told you about Christian. He wants it really, really bad. He wants to shine for the host nation, Denmark. Now that Kasper Stenfath has handled the flame to the Danish champ. Look at Christian Andersen go, really hammering down his paddle. He's got the lead on that Fanatic board, and the 2 paddlers with Manuel Oyuela very cleverly positioning himself in that draft behind Christian, the Spaniard, in 2nd place. There is a bit of a gap between the 2, with Donato Friends now making his way back up. I think he missed his start, Donato. We might have a replay of that at some point. I'm not sure why Donato Friends, who is a very, very strong sprinter, wasn't right up there at the yellow buoy along Christian Andersen. He might be, his strategy might have been to avoid all the wash from all the other athletes. It could be the case, but right now on that blue board, you can see him in 5th position. Donato Friends from Netherlands, but in 1st, it's now Christian Andersen, Manuel Oyuela in 2nd, Clément Colmas from France, Riccardo Rossi on the Infinity in 4th. And we're going to find out who's in 5th, because there is going to be, with so many paddlers at the front, a big battle for that secure top 4 spots to make it through the A final. But look at what Manuel Oyuela is doing right now to those little bumps, climbing up to reach Christian Andersen's heights. But Christian now lifting his Fanatic board, followed by the son of our rider Manuel Oyuela from Spain. So it's Denmark and Spain right now at the front. Look how easy it is for Christian Andersen, who only lives 2 hours away from here, so he is used to those water conditions. Clément Colmas in third. I expect Clément to come back to these two fairly soon. And look at Riccardo Rossi, who's a fairly unknown paddler. He had a great result in Santa Pola, which is, for me, the one individual event which serves as a reference. And we mentioned it earlier on, Thomas Lacerda with that injured knee. He was limping yesterday in the streets of Vilsane in search of a pharmacy to secure his damaged meniscus. But he is there, he showed up for the big day. The last day of individual racing here in Vilsane, but Christian Andersen very much in control now with Manuel Oyuela in second, but Clément Colmas is going to climb up to form a three-man draft train, maybe reached now by two other paddlers. Donato Frenz is in there, as well as Riccardo Rossi, the Italian.
Yeah, it's really great to see the youngster. He is one of the young hopes of the Danish team there in your front. Number 17, Christian Andersen, the polar bear. He is definitely not too cold out there yet, and he is acting like he is in the lead. You can see nice and easy, commanding lead, and here we can see Clément also starting to try and gain and get back into that second position. But Manuel Oyuela, number 8 from Spain, as we come through on this lap, number 1, very good paddling out there so far. And let's not forget Donato Frenz also from the Netherlands, who was 4th overall yesterday as well in the sprints. So the Netherlands once again in a very good position. And there you have the top 4. This fleet, this heat number 2 looks a lot closer than we saw in heat number 1, as at the moment pretty much the top 7 are very close together.
And if you're watching on Facebook, make sure you send us your comments, your questions, because we're watching and we can interact with you. Tell us who you are cheering for. Yes, we have Blue Ewer in there. Thank you, Sarah from Sub Junkie, for pointing this out. We haven't said his name yet. That's because he was hiding himself on that starting line. Blue Ewer, one of the top paddlers in England, is right there. He's actually right now sitting in 6th position, just behind Donato Frenz. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about when I say interaction. That's great teamwork from you guys watching from all around the world. I can see people watching also from New Caledonia. Of course, I think they are 9 or 10 hours ahead of us. You can see Olivier Gariou. Make sure you share this live stream. We're going to have more action coming this afternoon with the finals. But right now, it's all about qualifying to those very finals with Christian Andersen on the Fanatic. A great mix of boards actually right here. We've got 6 men at the front and 6 different board brands. We've got Fanatic, we've got Infinity, we've got Starboard, we've got Sonova, we've got Lightboard Corp, and I believe in 6 right now on that JP Australia board is Blue Ewer from England. Well done, Blue. He was disappointed on the sprint day with basically a premature end of his sprints, but he's looking good today. Might have to make a move if he wants to get that top 4 spot.
Yes, he does, and you can see Riccardo Rossi there starting to fight Clément for that 3rd position. And then we can see Blue just making that turn. So Riccardo Rossi and Clément Colmas very close together, and on every single buoy turn they are right next to each other. And at the moment Riccardo has an inside line here. So, no, so going the other way, I do apologize. So it is Clement that has the inside. So now, here we go. Starting to get the old toucheroo. Everybody getting a little bit closer. Now you can see them starting to draft. But still, Polar Bear growling along with deep paddle strokes. And you can just see the power in his legs as well, pushing on every single one of these. The young talent coming out of Denmark, who at the moment is having one hell of a contest. But okay, now we might have a little race on, because in second position, going to be coming off of the board at the exact same time as Christian Andersen was Manuel Oyuela there from Spain. So very close as they come round on this second wrap. So there's about a board length in between at second and third position. Clement Colmas, who also is coming back from a rib injury and now has been paddling for about 3 weeks. So back on the water, seems like he's doing okay, considering he's in third position at the moment. And we saw there also the Portuguese athlete sustaining a injury on the meniscus of his knee. So looking like he is, unfortunately, on those runs is going to have a hard time. Also, many of these athletes do other sports. Matthias is pointing out that Clement here is one of the top wing foilers as well, riding for the Air Rush and Starboards teams. Excelling especially in the racing, because he does have also a kiting racing background. So when it comes to strategies and getting up on a foil and going, foiling becoming a very big thing out there in the industry. A lot of noise and a lot of action, so don't forget also to check out the Europeans and World Tours of the winging, where you'll be able to find and see all of the action of a lot of these athletes. As you also said, if I'm not mistaken, Amandine Chazot was also very into SUP foiling as well. So yeah, always foiling is such a beautiful addition, and you can get going in marginal conditions, and that sensation of flying above the water and the silence, it is beautiful.
Absolutely, and subfoiling has got great things for Amandine, keeping her in shape, and while she was having fun on those bumps in Bretagne, in Brittany, on the northwest of in the northwest of France. There's actually another interesting fact about Clement, is the very first French champion in subfoil downwind, which is a new discipline which was officially organized last year, precisely in Bretagne, in Brittany, in French Brittany. And it was a very interesting format actually. Over 5 days, many participants would take part in up to 7 heats, and the best heats would basically be used for the score. And Clement won them all with a very serious commanding lead, and there were some big names out there. So Clement Colmas, and look at what Manuel Oyuela is doing right now, trying to place an attack there on Christian Andersen, but unfortunately for him, Christian Andersen fights back fairly easily and makes sure that counter-attack stays where it started, behind him. And Christian Andersen in first, Manuel Oyuela in second. Look at Riccardo Rossi, the Italian, but he will have the inside there the second time he does that. And Clement Colmas, look, making a move there for the inside. Look at that, what Clement Colmas is doing, but Manuel Oyuela saw that coming and makes sure that he pushes really hard just before that buoy turn. Look, we feel the tension. Those few accelerations have created a bit of a gap behind, with Donato France losing a bit of ground, but Clement Colmas now on the starboard. Here we'll have the inside. So he's pushing really, really hard. Not hard enough, as he says that Christian Andersen wants to keep the leadership in this heat as they reach another red buoy.
Incredible action out there. Now this is what we're talking about. The boys have started waking up. They've obviously, the coffee has started to hit their veins. We will see conditions in the afternoon. Thanks everybody for interacting one more time. At the moment, the tide, the reason they're moving it over to the afternoon is so the tides are very similar, so conditions are the same out there. So that's a good question, and I hope the good answer there as the local organizers making sure that it is equal for everybody, so equal playing grounds. And what a couple of sprints we had from there, but none of them were successful. We saw Clement go on the inside, but Manuel saw he had his rear view mirror and said, nope, you are not coming through here. We also saw Riccardo Rossi as well, but Clement stopped that one well. And then let's have a look. Let's see now the bumps and the surf. Whoever is going to get up on a bump is going to start to go through it. It looks like Clement here might have a little one. He's going to be on the same one as Manuel. Polar bear swimming through the ocean as well. Starting to make his way forward. But at the moment, it is very similar out there. Manuel is going to have the inside line on the running turn. Clement is going to want to accelerate to pass him if he wants to get that board in front of him. Okay, so it is still the same. First position, Christine Andersen, Denmark. Second position, Manuel Ayuela from Spain. Third, Clement Comas from New Caledonia. And we have out here Riccardo Rossi from Italy as they come through. So we're still the same, no changes, but there is definitely a battle out there, Mathieu. These guys are leaving nothing in the tank.
Yes, and I think that Donato France right now in fifth position is paying for, I think, an average start, given how powerful a sprinter he is now catching up with that draft train. So that's a good thing he's just managed to do. And Blue Ewer, number 14 right there, is also a very, very strong sprinter. So if this pack stays together until the very end, we're going to have definitely a sprint finish, because there's only room for 4 athletes for the A final. And 2 of these guys are going to be very unfortunate. They will have a chance to compete again, but it will be final B. And Donato France, yes, with the blue board. Watch out, Blue Ewer. You don't want to lose that draft train. Cling to it for your life, because it is definitely at this stage a very important lifeline to hang on to if you want to move on to the next round. So Denmark, Spain, France, Italy, Netherlands, and England. These are our top 6. Let's talk about El Señor Manuel Oyuela. He had a pretty good year with a first place at the EUROSUP River Race, which is a great, I think, 18K river race, a very popular one. Hundreds of paddlers down there in the north of Spain. He carried on with the Granada Sub Games with a 4th place. Then he was 5th in a stacked international race, the Porte Adriano Sub Race in Mallorca. A pretty disappointing place in a position in the long distance of the World Sub Festival in Costa Blanca, but the field was so stacked. That is why I'm impressed with Riccardo Rossi, because Riccardo Rossi the Italian was 11th, which was a very good place to be in, given the stacked field. In Santa Pola, with Michael Booth up front, and Noe Garyu, and Ty Judson, and Titouan Puyo, and more. And he also, before EUROSUP, was 2nd at the Arnoia Sub Challenge. But most importantly, last year he finished on a great note, because he was 3rd in one of the largest, most popular event in the world, the Nautic Paddle Race in Paris. And that he was on the podium of a big international race, one of his best achievements so far.
Yes, I mean, the fleet here, the best of the European paddlers, they have so many different results, and a lot of them very similar tactics. But once again, Riccardo Rossi is trying to make a move on Clement. You can see him here on the left-hand side. He's going to try and get to that buoy. So basically now Clement has to make sure he keeps that inside line. And so when they make this turn, he will be able to make sure that he stays there. Okay, so he is still there, but Rossi is powering through. But watch out, there comes Donato Faines. And also Blue Ewer also keeping on to that drafting tail. These guys, it's like a serpentine out there at the moment. The anaconda coming your way of the paddlers. And here you can see with the head of the polar bear at the front. Making his way, getting a little bit of a bump there. Look at the face of concentration on that young man, number 17. Clement also keeping it together. Donato is starting to pressure the Italian. Oh, we have a race on now. Let's see. As you said, he's a very strong sprinter, but getting caught up there by Blue Ewer. Can he take the inside? He was pushing very, very hard. But it is that man out there in front. Christian Andersen. Just, you know, cruising and perusing. Saying hi to the seagulls as he goes past. Yeah, there he says, hey, mate, how's it going? You all right? Yeah, I'm in first. I'm happy. I'm good. I'm good. And he's going to be making his way back to the beach. Oh, watch out. Manuel Oyuela is challenging the bear. This is what we're talking about. Two very young athletes. A little bit of a bump. He's going to be challenging him on the left-hand side. This is going to be, once again, they're going to come off. And it is going to be the Spaniard who has now got a board length. Let's see if he can keep this as he starts to run along. Little look back. He knows that Christian is in second, but he doesn't want to take a little sleep because he is now on the inside. Time to sprint. You want to be getting back out on the water before him. And it looks, I'm going to say, it looks like he's let him go first there onto the water. Would this be a strategy? Does he want to stay on the trail so he doesn't use energy? Because he definitely slowed down there, Mathieu.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Joe. He even took time. We're talking about Manuel Oyuela. Even took time to have a few words with his teammates from the Spanish team on the left-hand side as he went through the arch. So I guess it's just a matter for him to make sure that he stays in that top 4. I think he's just tested himself there on the his possibility for what might come, a sprint finish, and that's exactly, well, now he knows. He knows he can come back on polar bear and even go in front. So on that son of a board, Manuel Oyuela is probably getting a bit of confidence there with that attempt, which was successful. He could have kept the lead, but you know, why not save a bit of energy, staying in second place, and Blue Ewer a bit more in a sticky position there in 6th, because although you're in that first draft train, there are 25 meters between the first of that train and the 6th one. So Blue Ewer is always blocked in those buoys. He's got to do something in between if he wants to climb back up. It's a similar scenario with one less man to go for Donato Frentz, the 17-year-old Dutchman. You can read a full interview with Donato from a few days ago. It's probably still on the homepage of totalesup.com right now. He tells TotalSup all about, ooh, look at that gap. Look at that gap. There is action going on. There is definitely something going on now with Donato. We were just talking about him. He's got to paddle hard now to climb up towards Riccardo Rossi, the Italian. That's a 10-meter gap. Watch out, because you can definitely lose a lot of ground on those buoy turns. I'm not sure what happened there, if Donato took a fall or if it just went wide and slow. But there is a group of 4 and a group of 2 now going on, with Blue Ewer not in position to be able so far to be able to overtake Donato Frentz, and at the front making sure to make the most of those little ripples, as you can see with that drone shot. Christian Andersen, Polar Bear in the lead on that Fanatic, and Donato Frentz and Blue Ewer trying to catch up, and Blue Ewer staying in Donato's draft train. If Donato's can't reach the top 4, Blue Euro is going to have to make her move very, very soon as the finish line is getting close. I'm actually going to run now to the beach to make sure I grab the winner of this hit while Joe carries on commentating these beautiful images.
Wow, there it is. The freight train. It does look like Donato Faines has caught up again, but oh, we got action one more time. Manuel Oyuela getting a little bit of a surferoo there on that one. And there we can see the man behind the lens, John Carter, making sure he gets all the action down there at buoy number 5. Clement Comas, Ricardo Rossi, Donato Faines, and Blue Euro. Those are your top 6 athletes. And here we can see Blue trying to get some distance back and make his way into that top 4. But at the moment, there's probably about 15 to 20 meters from the 4th position, as it is this man at the moment who has the command and lead. But Manuel Oyuela has been throwing down at Christian Andersen, and it looks like Clement is going to try and take another sprint. He is following Manuel. Manuel one more time. Looks like Christian's got up on a little ripple. It's going to come down to the surfs as they come in. Christian Andersen taking a little look-see to the right. He's off his board first. Manuel Oyuela. And here we have also Clement Comas. So now they are making their way through for that final lap. First onto the water, Denmark, Christian Andersen. Second, Manuel Oyuela. Third, Clement Comas. Fourth, Ricardo Rossi. Sixth, Donato Faines. And fifth, Donato Faines. And sixth, Blue Euro. Your top 6 athletes. As once again, the freight train continues here. Another day of competition here of the EUROSUP 2022. On the water at the moment, we have tech race heat number 2 of the men. The last heat of the morning. Then we will be shutting down until 3 o'clock Central European time, where we will then start off with the finals to see who will be crowned European champions. So there we can see all of them. Oh, watch out. He is starting to catch up. Donato Faines was making a move on Rossi there, but decided to go behind us. He wasn't going to be able to catch up again, but he has gained some distance. And there you can see that blue board just in the right-hand corner of our image. So it looks like the Dutch athlete is starting to make some moves, as he knows he has to leave it all out on the water if he wants to have a possibility of making it through to that A final, as he did not have the best start that we have seen from him in the previous events. And there it is, that buoy turn. Oh, nice turn there from Clement, getting a little bit closer and trying to get into that second position. And we've even got a crowd out there on the water, all the seagulls, all the locals cheering on the first position, Christian Andersen. We've got them hovering, we've got them floating, we've got them flying, making sure that their fellow countrymen feels their support, airborne support we have down here at Vida Sande. And now, as the top 4 is going across the competition area, that finish line is starting to get closer and closer. And I'm going to say, I reckon we're going to be having a battle on for second, third, and 4th position. As in one of those buoy turns before, we did see a move going on out there from Donato Faines towards Ricardo Rossi. as the 4th place is that final qualifying pace. Oh, and it looks like Donato deciding to go on a bump, opening up a little bit more. Could this be an attack on the Italian Rossi? Number 1 there on the bottom of your screen. Let's see what happens at that buoy, because they are neck and neck. They are equal at the moment. As you can see, the little nose of that blue board from the Dutch athlete. But let's not forget, he's going to need to get on an inside line if he wants to have a possibility of overtaking Ricardo. And it does look like, oh, Donato Fain sprinting, moving into 3rd position at the moment. As we come towards buoy number 5, Clement knows he's here. Oh, and he's going to be going on the outside. Here we have Donato moving forward. Ooh, almost going over Ricardo Rossi, knowing how important it is to make it to that bottom buoy in front of Donato. We have a battle. Watch out, everybody. Watch out. Get to the edge of your sofas. Oh, a little wobble. Here comes a wave. This is going to be a very decisive moment in this heat. Christian Andersen through cleanly. Manuel Oyuela also continuing on. Here we have it, Clement Comas. And Ricardo Rossi has taken the lead back for that 4th place. And unfortunately, Blue Hero there goes down. So it is going to come down to the final sprint. Oh, I love it when it's so close. Here we have final turn. Polar Bear making his way through. Chris Anderson. Manuel Oyuela. Nice and clean. Clement Colmers. Clean. Here comes Donato Fains. He's going to be making an attack on the Italian. There it is. A final sprint. It's now or never, boys. Now or never. Who are going to be the top 4 making their way through to that final number A? I can see the Spaniards and the Polar Bear battling it out. Christian Andersen is off. Going to be making his way forward. So your winner is going to be Christian Andersen. 2nd position, Manuel Oyuela. And there it is, sportsmanship there. 3rd position, Clement Comas. And we are going to go down to the beach and see all the action with Mathieu.
All right, thank you, Joe. I've caught up with Polar Bear. A very commanding lead throughout the race. You took an early lead. Yeah. You were first at the yellow buoy. Yeah. You had 5 guys chasing you and giving you a hard time. Manuel Oyuela a couple of times managed to come back to you. And you were there at the front, and you win this semi-final. Looks like we're gonna have a strong, very good final in the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the final. It was a hard heat, but I was able to save a bit of energy, so I feel good for the final. I had a really good start and just managed to stay in front all the way. And all the guys are really strong, Manu and Clement and Donato and Blue from England. So I'm excited.
So you surfed. You sprinted, yeah. You did the long distance, but I have the feeling this might be your best discipline.
Yeah, I love this discipline. I was hoping for a bit more waves, but I think the wind is going to pick up in the afternoon. This morning I woke up, I felt really sore after the distance and the sprint and the surfing too, but just did a long warm-up and felt good. I was able to sleep well last night and I'm excited for it.
How did you, what do you say about that little battle going on with Manuel Oyuela precisely?
Yeah, he's really strong. I mean, I was racing him in the distance, and he was so strong all the way in the beginning. So yeah, but we were still saving a bit of energy. I feel like we were going like 80% or something. Just having a bit of fun. We were smiling down there, trying to get the inside for the buoy, and it was a fun battle with him.
Did you watch the first semi-final? What did you make of Titouan Pouilleau's first run?
Yeah, he looked really strong, Titouan. I mean, this is his kind of racing, you know. I think he loves the conditions too. So I'm excited for the final. I mean, I think he's going to be strong. French team are really strong, Spanish and Italian, and yeah, I'm just excited. I'm happy to be here in Denmark and representing Denmark. So.
And so are we, Christian Andersen. Congratulations on your semi-final win. Let's see if the Danish flag flies high this afternoon in the big final. We're going to take a little break, so it's going to be goodbye for me right now for this morning. But at 3 o'clock we will have 6 races some big finals and the big finals, obviously, of the technical racing on day 7 of EUROSUP 22. Back to you, Joe.
Thank you very much, Mathieu. Yeah, amazing work out there from Chris Anderson, but a good fight on there with Manuel Olluera. And as he said, we are going to be taking a slight break as we will be starting one more time at 3 o'clock Central European time. We will be back with more technical racing here of the EUROSUP 2022. What a beautiful way to start off the morning. And just enjoy this beautiful drone shot as we are going to be leaving you for a while. But once again, we'll be back live 3 o'clock Central European time.
Kan man virkelig gøre alle glade? Både sommerhusejerne og feriegæsterne? Ja, det kan man, og det gør vi hver eneste dag hos Esmark. Vi elsker at skabe de perfekte rammer for vores feriegæster på Vestkysten. Du lejer nemlig ikke kun et sommerhus hos Esmark. Du lejer en oplevelse for livet. Se, hvad vi kan gøre for dig og din ferie på esmark.dk. Esmark, professionel sommerhusudlejning uden bøvl.